Hello everybody, my name is James Woudhuysen. I'm visiting professor at London South Bank University, and I'm very pleased to join your conference and give the morning keynote on the second day. I think when you look at commentary on the future of work today, quite a lot of it is about workplace layout and design and how space and playing together, especially table football, can make you more creative, and we can set all of those theories to one side, thankfully. The more influential theories, though, mainly emanate from Silicon Valley, and they are to suggest that the whole world is undergoing fundamental and revolutionary change because of IT. And whether it's the Internet of Things or big data or driverless cars, wearable media, all of these things are supposed to fundamentally be changing the workplace. Now, clearly there's something going on there, but the first part of my talk will be to suggest to you, do not buy the hype, that in fact it's more psychological matters, more human matters, human resources with a small h and a small r, that deserve your attention much more than the Silicon Valley hype meister would like. And so I think the 360-degree performance appraisal, the how to manage your manager agenda, how to act up but without getting any increase in salary, not letting your mates down at work, these kind of quite profound and not always written about psychological issues, staff engagement, are very important for the future of work and for the future of your industry. That's not to say that IT isn't delivering already some important changes, but if you take the discussion on artificial intelligence, for example, I don't think that the robots or the large computers now being developed could ever give us an impartial but nevertheless human and humane verdict on the future of the European Union, Brexit, or anything like that. So I think that's the human province. It's humans, after all, who create IT. So we need to keep that factor very much in mind. And it also appears economically, which is interesting. If you look at the numbers, and I'll be bringing them to the conference, the most salient feature today is not massive investment in the economy on IT, but actually a dearth of investment, including even IT. The staffing industries in general are not the hottest enthusiasts for IT, although there's some exist. But if you look at American society, for example, the investment on IT as a percentage of GDP has actually fallen since the early 2000s. So what we're talking about here is bad news for capitalism, because there's a big absence of capital investment and a great desire to postpone capital investment on major infrastructure and things like that. Even predictive maintenance in the Internet of Things is all about predicting that you don't need to maintain that machine tool right now. You can postpone it, the maintenance work, till later. There's a dearth of capital investment out there, and instead the watchwords are, under what McKinsey has called quarterly capitalism, the short term, the quarterly results, and therefore having an agile, flexible attitude to tomorrow's workforce. What's bad news for capitalism, therefore, is good news for staffing industries, because if they're not investing out there, your clients, in machinery, in IT, in offices the way they should be, and logistics, then they are going to hold their cash in major hoards, often abroad, like Apple does, and many other culprits, and they're just going to recruit on a contingent basis. They're going to not go for jobless growth. There will be jobs there. Unemployment, it seems to have escaped our IT boosters, is actually at very low levels at the moment in many places around the world. Even Spain is recovering in unemployment. But what is needed today is contingent labour on an as-and-when basis. So the bad news for the system is good news for your industry, is simply what I'm going to say. What comes out of all of this in terms of recommendations? Well, I think get more serious than you are already about IT, as well as research and development while we're on it. Eschew or ignore the psychobabble that we often hear about human resources, but do ensure that staff engagement levels are kept high, not least by trying to make wages a bit more buoyant than they have been for the last 20 or 30 years in Europe, America, Britain and elsewhere. Looking after your staff and also working with your staff at the sharp end to know the conditions that they face and the realities of today's employment scene, getting down and dirty with them, that is much more sensible than dreaming about artificial intelligence or driverless cars. We're not going to see driverless cars in any mass penetrations, in my view, as the journalistic phrase has it, anytime soon. But in terms of quelling staff's differences with management, reinforcing the legitimacy of management, making sure that people are happy, even though their employment conditions are rather fluid in your industry, that is the thing that deserves more attention and which you might justifiably worry about rather than the panaceas that we're always offered, some of them useful, but not all of them in IT. I hope you'll join me on the final morning, and I promise some thrills, some spills, and just a few laughs as well. Thank you so much.